Hey everyone, it is Dani'i and welcome to another update video as we count down to the official start of the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season, which is of course the 1st of June. So as of right now, we are 94 days away from the official start of the season, and so I'm back again with yet another update video. So this isn't just merely about the hurricane season, but rather what to expect in terms of weather conditions across the Caribbean on a weekly basis. And so before I go into details, Alright, and so we are going to be touching on quite a few things. We're going to talk about the usual GFS, the precipitation total that is expected between now and next Sunday. We're going to look at that dry air map, and we're going to briefly touch on the ENSO pattern, which stands for the El Nino Southern Oscillation. And so let us start off with satellite, of course. And so we are seeing that we don't have any significant convection going on here. So let's go on infrared satellites. So the more color you see, the more is going on, and we're just seeing these spots of clouds. All that moisture is just rolling in from the east, being carried by the trades that is influencing rainfall across most of the Caribbean. So nothing very significant right now. There shouldn't be any devastating rainfall totals in anywhere right now, because of course it's not that time of the year where we would usually have all this flooding, and usually any significant rainfall events we get would be from dissipating fronts that are making their way out of North America and moving to the southeast, and so that would usually be the time. But I mean, things are pretty quiet right now. However, as you're going to be heading closer to May, that is when we could see increased precipitation across the Caribbean. I'm talking about more precipitation amounts than the totals that we are currently anticipating. And so as I speak about that, let's go ahead and take a look at the GFS map. And so as we progress throughout this week, we can expect to see increased rainfall. And so to get a better picture of this, let's go ahead and take a look at not just the GFS but other models and see what they're also expecting in terms of that total precipitation accumulation. And so, of course, we have the GFS up first. So this is between now on the 27th to the 6th of March on Sunday. And so we are seeing that we have the different colors that indicate different amounts of precipitation, and this is in inches here. So when we see mainly the dark blues and the greens, that is usually under an inch. As we head to the lighter blues, that is an inch plus. As we head to the lilac shade, that's about 2 inches of rainfall. And so as we have the shade get into a darker purple, and even to that red burgundy shade, that is when we have a lot of rainfall. That is up to about 6 inches of total rainfall there. And so we're seeing that for majority of the Caribbean, just about an inch or under an inch expected for most areas between now and Sunday. But we're seeing the most precipitation amount. We're seeing the highest accumulation in sections of South America. We're talking about Colombia, sections of Venezuela, and also southern states of Central America. So we're talking about more than 2 inches in some areas. So quite a bit of rainfall that is expected there. And as we go on to the ICON model, ICON is also expecting pretty much the same thing. Most of the Caribbean region is going to have just an inch or just under an inch of rainfall in total between now and Sunday. However, as we see in portions of the South Caribbean, we have more accumulation amounts that are expected. We have the Canadian model that is also expecting that same thing. So that is the general consensus among the various models, guys. So as for most of the Caribbean, nothing very significant is expected. However, there might be rainfall on a daily basis for some of these different islands or countries. And so now let's go ahead and take a look at the dry air map. And so we have the different colors as they indicate the abundance of dry air that we have present. And so the yellows indicate that we have less as we head to the darker orange, and that red shade that indicates that we have more. So we see quite a bit of dry air. That's really the Saharan dust that is is just off the coast of Africa. And then as we take a look at the Caribbean and even into portions of the Gulf of Mexico, we have quite a bit of dry air that is present. That is also aiding in the limitation of all of that rainfall, because when we have all this dry air abundant, it really helps to limit moisture as well. But we still have moisture that is present across the region, thus aiding in all of the precipitation that we saw that is expected. And also, as we go back to this satellite imagery here, we can actually see the SAL, or the Saharan air layer, on this, where we have that brownish hue that is actually indicating the dry air. So yes, it is actually visible on satellite imagery, and especially as we head to June, where we have a lot of Saharan dust making its way into the Atlantic and Caribbean. That is really when we're going to start to see a lot of it, guys. And so that is really what is expected throughout this week. And as I said earlier, I'm going to be touching on that ENSO pattern. And so I would cover this in a lot of detail in my previous video before this. I'm going to be linking it in the description, so you can go ahead and check it out if you want to understand a lot more of what is expected for this season and how the La Nina or El Nino really develops. And so let's just take a look at what is expected for this hurricane season. And so we're taking a look at what if we have a La Nina. So La Nina typically results in more activity across the Atlantic basin because there is a decrease in wind shear, and we also have higher than normal temperatures across the basin. So those two factors significantly aid in the amount of tropical cyclone development that we would have. And so if we're in a La Nina season again, that indicates we will see, or we can expect to see, a lot more tropical cyclones. That we could even have some that could be very strong. And as what most persons would think, an El Nino is the opposite of a La Nina, where we have more vertical wind shear that interrupts developing tropical cyclones, and this really limits the amount that is expected. So this is usually with below average hurricane seasons. Meanwhile, with La Ninas, they're typically associated with above average seasons, but sometimes things are pretty much normal. We're not in an El Nino and we're not in a La Nina, so things are neutral. So when we have neutral conditions, that is when everything is pretty much average. And so the average number of storms any season is about 14. So things are appearing as though we might be in a neutral ENSO or a weak La Nina, and so either of them we would definitely expect to have quite a bit of storms this season, but the chance is pretty low for us to see an El Nino developing as we progress into the latter part of this year. So it is likely that we will have an active season yet again. And so, of course, as time goes by, as we progress closer and closer to the start of the season, we will have a lot more predictions that are out. And so I will keep you updated as per usual. And so, guys, that is really it for this video. And if you found it to be quite informative, please give a thumbs up. And you can also share thoughts with me in the comments or ask a question. I will try to respond as best and as soon as I can. And just remember to always be weatherwise.